So like, good day, eh? Sorry, have to talk like that because one of these models is from the People's Republic of Kanakistan, or Canada, as some of you other people might know it. I can make fun of that place because, well, my family actually, at the turn of last century, actually emigrated from Scotland to Canada and then made their way down to Duluth, Minnesota, and then spread the diseased seed across the country from there. So I can make fun of Canada. So, anywho, here are some recent additions to the collection. Two arrived last week, but I was kind of waiting for that big black box back there. So, let's get into this stuff. Let me set you down here, see how bad the table's going to shake. Hold on here. Oh, trying to use this tripod thing. This is new. People said I needed a tripod, so I made the daughter get me one. Ooh, that's gotta still get a finger. All right, we'll start with that over there. All right, so what we got here is, oh, that appears to be obviously a Santa Fe boxcar. But look at her, die cast. So I've never had one of these. I know me and Bob over there at Rab's Trains have kind of been pretty happy with these die-cast things just because of the quality. So there's the label. Oh, look at that, even focused. Check that out. So anyway, this is Au Scale there. So that's pretty cool. So I had to take that one out of the box. This thing, let me get around the camera here. This son of a bitch weighs 3 pounds, which is unheard of for a boxcar, in my opinion. See some of the details there. Everything is metal except the doors. The ladders are all separate in metal. It is actually a see-through metal walkway. And I actually think that might be brass, believe it or not. Yeah, that's brass. Separate grabs up here. This thing is just really cool. You got opening doors. Like I said, the only thing on here that's plastic is these. This is a good paint scheme. Now I'll tell you, this thing just, I mean, it really rolls. Don't be scared of the weight of these things. Once your locomotive gets this thing moving, it's going to stay moving. Remember that whole thing, Newton's first law of motion, inertia. Inertia states an object in motion tends to stay in motion. This will definitely tend to stay in motion. So that is pretty cool. Find number 2 over here. This guy is going to stay in the box, unfortunately, because he is sealed. At least he is sealed on the inside. This is a different number than the one I already have, so I had to have this, unfortunately. But yep, this is a real one, and like I said, it is sealed on the inside. There's your license from Coors. So this one here would have definitely been one of the guys that was available at the brewery. So back in the day, I probably had passed by it, would be my guess. So hold on, let me get this out of the way. That way you'll be able to get a full view of this locomotive. Alright, we are back. So this one's a little more rare than some of the other ones I've had. Take a look at this over here. I brought down the authenticity thing. That is number 53 of 312. Pretty cool. So hold on, let me move that. And we'll get the box out of the way. This is kind of out of my comfort zone on stuff, but I did do a little research. I had to because I really don't know anything about this locomotive. But it actually has an interesting history. So stand by. Ta-da! Canadian Pacific Royal Hudson. So this guy is pretty cool. I've never had anything like this. This has good detail. I'll take the phone off the tripod and we'll kind of get closer here. I love that semi-vestibule cab kind of going into the tender there. This number here, 2850 or 2858, sorry, is still in existence. So let me share the nerd knowledge that I came up with this thing. I really had to, and this is new in box, by the way. And at first I was kind of, I saw how the box was, and then I tried to take it out of the box. I was going to unbox it on camera, but I couldn't get it out of the box. And that's how I knew this thing had probably never been out of the box. When I got the styrofoam liner out of the sleeve and opened it up, I could tell that this thing was brand new. We'll flip it over and I'll show you. But as far as the nerd knowledge goes, I actually had to write this down, so I will read here for a moment, so pardon me. All right, so what made these guys Royal Hudsons was, in 1939, King George VI, and I'm not into English monarchy or any of that crap, but I'm pretty sure that was the Queen Elizabeth that just died. I'm pretty sure that was her father. Well, anyway, that was the first time, and his wife, who also was Queen Elizabeth. That was the first time a reigning monarch had ever visited Canada, so I guess it was a pretty big deal. So he arrived in Quebec City, and they traveled by train. So basically, Canadian Pacific handled the westbound journey, and Canadian National handled the eastbound journey. I have no idea what Canadian National used, but anyway, so this guy went from Quebec City to Vancouver. That was, and it was a specially painted one. It was silver and blue. But it was a total of 3,224 miles. Apparently, old Georgie there was a rail fan, and he spent a lot of time in the cab on the drive, or on the ride. By the end of the journey, when he got to the west side of Canada, meaning Vancouver, which is British Columbia, he was so impressed by these things that he gave Canada permission to call these royal. So that's where your little, that's where like your little crown there comes from. So these were literally allowed to be called Royal Hudsons. I thought that was kind of cool. Prototypically, what I figured out about these, so these were called H1s, so I'm assuming Hudson 1. They were built by the Montreal Locomotive Works, which are the same guys that kind of did Alco after Alco went out of business, so I am familiar with them. They were built in 37, 38, and 40. They were H1Cs, H1Ds, H1Es. This one is advertised as an H1E, but I don't think that is correct. This is an H1D and should have a coal tender, but if I'm concerned about that, I'm in the wrong hobby. I should go back to HO, so I'm not worried about it. But anyway, in 37 they built 30, 38 they built 10, and in 40 they built another 5, so H1C, D, and E. Like I said, this guy is still around. 2850, which was the one that hauled the King, it is still around. So, and I don't know if it functions or not. I know the Southern, I remember the Southern Railway had one too. I think they gave it back to Canada though. But let's get a look at this little guy a little closer here. So one thing I like is, and that's in the close coupled position there for the tender. Let's bring him on over. Oh. Actually heavy. Weaver stuff was quite a bit heavier than the old, what do you call it? Great, I can't even get it unhooked. Williams. So there we go. Now we're back down at my level. So as you can see, pretty cool model, good detail. There's a shot of your crown, your builder's plate. This is the first time I've seen a builder's plate on a Weaver model. It was kind of hard to do research on this as a model. 93 is when this came out, so good detailing on the tender. You can see a lot of the stuff there. But hold on here, let me flip them over and I'll show you. Look at your rollers, look at your wheels. Look at the shape of this thing. This is brand new. Absolutely brand new. Underside of the tender. No sound on this guy, which is kind of what I wanted. QSI reversing unit and all that. So that means this was Samhungsa built. So Korean, of course. Good shot of that cab. No backhead detail, just your plug back there and your smoke unit. But it was an all-weather cab. Spin them around here so you can take a look at the front. Pretty neat little design, actually. With the number board up high there, headlight in the middle, air hoses, coupler cut bar there. You can see all of your etched brass with the walkways and everything going up over. Pretty big for a Hudson, actually. I kind of dig that hidden whistle there. Dynamo, side-mounted bell is cool. Another thing I thought was neat is all the grab irons on this guy. And look how it's one piece. Kind of wraps around there. Pretty neat. But yeah, I like this guy. I do have a couple of other Canadian stuff, Canadian things, I guess. But this guy, like I'm going to do a full disassemble of this and do my grease in action and all that, and we will get a running video, I promise. So, well, anywho, hope you enjoyed this short little update here. Next time you see this thing, it'll be running up on the attic. So, thank you guys. I will catch you on the next one. Later.